Everybody has their own movies that they love. Everybody has their own movies that they hate. But one of the easiest ways to connect with another human being, especially an American, that you don't know, is to talk to them about movies. What's your favorite movie? So, we all have our own tastes. We're individuals. There's nothing wrong with that. One of the silliest things that we can do as people is to discount the thoughts and feelings of other people based on what sort of entertainment they like. If you like it, if it brings some measure of joy to your heart, that's great. That's fantastic. Let's do that. In my time, I've been accused of being a movie snob, and that's because I have the terrible habit of looking down on people based on what sort of entertainment they like. That's silly. Just like I say, that's silly. If you like it, you like it. Beautiful. Great. One of the best things you can do is shed elite attitudes and condescension when it comes to movies that people like, or books, whatever entertainment. We're going to talk about movies that I like, that I don't think a lot of other people like. And not just to shed that label, but to show you that one of the best things you can do when it comes to enjoying movies, enjoying film, is take what you like it. And then just appreciate that other people can like other things. We're going to do 6. That sounds good? Alright. Little Nicky. Okay. I expect shoes to be thrown. But I know that Happy Madison Productions creates some of the most trite, cliched nonsense I think that you've ever seen. And Adam Sandler himself almost seems to be giving himself an ego stroke with every film that he's in. It came out in 2000 to mixed reviews. I think it has a 22% on RottenTomatoes.com, which you'll find that a lot of his comedies, Adam Sandler's comedies, tend to end up in that low range. In part because I think comedies in general don't perform well on Rotten Tomatoes with critics. Critics, I find, often miss the point when it comes to comedies. I'm a huge heavy metal fan, alright? So I immediately enjoy just the cheeseball factor of this movie. Just comes straight into a Van Halen song, and you've got Nicky, played by Adam Sandler, just acting like a high school kid in 1988. It's not the highest brow of entertainment. You've got a character who, in Nicky, he talks kind of like this. He comes across as developmentally disabled. Fine. And a lot of people give movies some flack for that. I don't necessarily think that... I think that ascribing that much importance to Little Nicky by Adam Sandler is maybe missing the point. There's a lot to dislike about this movie. The plot is cliched. The characters are stock, flat. There's a love interest that's in there for reasons that I'm assuming came with the formula. Most of the characters aren't memorable, but then there's those things. There's a couple of things about this movie that elevates it above most of the Happy Madison productions for me. Sandler seems to genuinely be having fun, not playing himself. Where you would see him playing what appears to be himself in Grown Ups, which was a terrible movie. It was so bad. But you see him sort of playing this limping, completely impotent character, which in a lot of ways is the antithesis of a Happy Gilmore, who is some sort of superhero hidden behind kind of his social failures and hubris, sort of. Nicky isn't really confident. He's an idiot. So we've got a hackneyed plot, character placed in a situation beyond his control. He's got the hero's journey bit down pat. He resists the call to action. He takes up the call of action. He learns things about himself and about the other people around him. Like any Happy Madison production, you pretty much end up with him defeating the enemy in some sort of kind of intensely cliched final battle situation. That's, if you remember Happy Gilmore's final battle situation, which was really the scene where he's playing Shooter McGavin in the Tour Championship, the tower falls down on the green, and you've got Happy who has to hit this incredible freak shot, the last shot he can possibly take to hit this and win the championship. That's all he can do, and with Nicky, it's more like a cutscene in a video game. He doesn't actually have to do anything. He just more or less has to show up, and He's got the magic MacGuffin. I love the aesthetic. I could do without the romance angle. I could do without some of those winking, nod to the camera moments. You can take that sort of thing out. I find that the movie it's stupid, but it's something you can kind of turn your brain off for. It's colorful. The aesthetic of the hell in this world it's heavy metal, but in a kind of a poserish sort of way. It's brightly colored. You've got guys in all the goth uniforms, robes, flowing things, lots of makeup, lots of kind of, dark eyeliner. And then you've got, oh my god, you've got Harvey Keitel, who is... you could put him in anything. If he and Raza Fons did a movie together and they were two guys working behind the counter of a gas station, I would watch that movie. I would watch that if it was 3 hours. Just let them talk, let them be charming and amazing, and I would watch that. It's a terrible movie in almost every way, and I don't know, it does it for me for some reason. It does. Anyway, let's move on. What else do we got? Let's see, number 5. I'm going to say The Fifth Element. And I know a lot of people really like this movie, so I think it might be breaking the rule of movies I like that everyone hates. But it gets a lot of critical flack for being very cliche, just so mired in cliche that it almost defies cliche. You've got Bruce Willis playing a former badass who reluctantly is called back to badassery. You've got a romance that blooms between two characters who don't really know each other. You've got zany side characters and Chris Tucker. Oh god, Chris Tucker. Brother, he's got the little microphone and he's yelling at everybody. Everything is amazing. That sort of thing. He's so bright and so cheerful, and it works for me. But you've got Bruce Willis playing stuff. You've got Mila Jovovich playing hot girl in thermal bandages for whatever reason. It doesn't matter. She makes the innocent badass work really well. She's practically an anime character in this movie. Adorable and sexy. She keeps pulling her boobs out. That's fantastic. That's wonderful. But it's almost like something written by a high school student in that you've got the bad guy is literally evil. Like, that's all he is. I'm saying he, we don't know the gender. It's a black ball floating in space, and its only characteristic is it's evil. That's it. We don't know anything. And he's evil. That's it. That's all we know. And for the purposes of the movie, that's all we need to know. Evil's coming to kill us. Great. We need a magic MacGuffin to stop it. Great. Now let's have fun with these ridiculous characters in what looks like a French fashion show in like 2070. You've got Chris Tucker comes out at one point in a leopard kind of print, full body, one-piece spandex pajamas getup where he's got a popped collar and a hair that's like a really tight perm. It's like Simon Phoenix from Demolition Man if his hair had a heart on. It's amazing. You've got Bruce Willis walking around in an orange shirt with holes cut in the back of it and looking like the most butch French lesbian ever. He's amazing. The idea of this movie, I think, is to have fun with the ridiculous outfits, the silly alien designs, the completely over-the-top, just hammy acting, Chris Tucker screaming, gun battles that are cheesy and pointless, and light shows, and characters that are just giggling while they're saying their lines. There's a scene where a guy tries to rob Bruce Willis's character in his apartment, and you can tell he's sort of laughing as he's delivering his lines. And that's just brilliant to me because it's a silly little story. It's easy to take in. People are having fun making this movie, and I'm having fun watching this movie. I've enjoyed this movie forever, and not just for the Mila Jovovich thermal bandages scene, which, let's just say it gives it points. Number 4. Four Horsemen? No. Prometheus. Alright, let's get this out of the way first. This is a terrible alien movie. Prometheus is entirely too pretty to really be scary. I don't know that they were going with horror movie at all for this one. I know that Ridley Scott, who did not by any means return to form with this movie, became enamored about halfway through the process of the film with the ancient astronauts' creation theory, which, for those of you who don't know, and again I'm speaking to all 2 of you who might watch this, The ancient astronauts theory, boiled down to its simplest point, is that aliens of some sort came to Earth and dropped off some sort of seed or some sort of creation that eventually turned into humans. That to an extent our creator, we've got the creator, all caps, would be just an alien who formed us, in essence. Chariots of Fire, I believe, was the name of the book in the mid-50s that sort of espoused this theory famously. So you've got what started out to be an Aliens prequel that turned into more of an exploration of a different creation myth, to a degree. The opening scene where some sort of freakish kind of bluish white monster man, some sort of biped, comes down. He drinks this black liquid, falls into a river, and just disperses into DNA, different chromosomes, and you can kind of see them forming in this montage into humans in the opening credits. I thought that was great. I don't think this is something that's been explored well enough in film. I think a lot of people are afraid to explore this in film because it makes the religious people mad. When you've got a nation like the United States that is so overwhelmingly Christian, and people cannot uncolor their views of pretty much anything. They can't take religion out of it because it's such a huge part of who they are. And that's great. That's fine. Be who you are. It's just like liking what you like. But with something like a movie, I feel like it's important to sort of divorce yourself from that sort of thing and realize that you're not living in a world that is designed to suit your beliefs necessarily. Movies are, at their best, escapism and philosophy sort of rolled into one. Not meant to challenge your views on religion or whatever, but to kind of give you a break from everything. In the case of Prometheus, we know going into this movie that we're going to end up with an alien. We're going to end up with a xenomorph some way. We don't know how. To me, a great deal of what makes the movie fun is sort of waiting for that point, waiting for the time when the great monster is going to show up at some point, and the movie just holds it back from us forever. And then there's the C-section scene, which is... There's a lot of silliness about it. You've got the character, I believe it's Maggie Gyllenhaal. I need to look that up at some point. But you've got this scientist woman who is impregnated with an alien embryo. And she takes herself to a medical machine or whatever that has apparently a setup, like a preset, that allows it to remove a baby from a womb, which is fine. It's still one of the most disturbing scenes. The music is screeching, the character, she's screaming her head off, her pain is like palpable. You can believe that she's hurting. And it takes this squid monster out of her body. Wrapped up in this scene, I think, is sort of what makes this movie work for me, and it's the terror kind of having everything that you know ripped away from you. For anybody who's ever considered an abortion, this has got to be the weightiest decision. I can't imagine. I'm a guy. I cannot allow myself to... I can't feel that. There's no way that I can understand that. But you've got a character who has to go through not only an abortion, but an abortion knowing that she's carrying a monster. She's given birth to a life that she needs to destroy, and it needs to be taken from her, and it's horrific. It's got to be personally destructive. It's just an incredible, painful scene, and I think it sort of encapsulates everything that makes Alien Alien, and it's the absolute horror of being at the mercy of something that wants to take everything you are. And there's a metaphor in there, I think, for humans as parasites, But we'll get to that another. I really enjoyed Prometheus. I understand why people didn't like it. I'm just not one of those people.